conflict resolution is, there's plenty of information out there about how to approach it, where the conflict comes from, and what fits best for each individual person, what works. Now, I've had two ways that I've discovered I tend to deal with it. One works better than the other. The first way is if there's too much of a divide and too much of a disagreement that you can't come to any sort of neutral ground, there's the walking away option and just deciding that that's not something you prefer, that's not someone or a specific energy that you want in your life. The downside to that is no matter where you go, that same energy and same frequency will find you with somebody else. So the second way I've figured to deal with it, which seems to negate the first way, is just face it head on and try and understand where the conflict's coming from, what that other person bases their perspective and their disagreements on. What experiences have they been through in their life that pushes them so far apart from your perspective? Why do you have such different perspectives? And it's not about changing theirs, it's about understanding what created the gap between and realizing that that's okay. It's okay to have a gap between perspectives, because we don't all want the same perspective. We'd all be clones and drones. So accepting that everybody's different and allowing their perspective to stand for them, and not just trying to change it and trying to enforce your perspective over top of theirs, because that's either you going against someone's free will, or it's someone else giving up themselves, which neither is healthy. It's much more conducive to try and talk about the gap between rather than the actual issue, because once you understand that you just come from different walks of life, you've had different experiences to get to where you are, then it's a lot easier to understand why you think differently and why you agree or disagree on specific topics, rather than trying to change each other's mind, which you can't change a mind unless it's through experience. Words don't change minds. Words make people think, but perception through the eyes generally is what will change someone's opinion of you or thoughts about what you should or shouldn't be doing. It's a very hard place to be. It puts you and them in a hard position, an awkward position sometimes. But as they say, there's no gain where there's no pain. So you've got to learn to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to grow and to move forward, and to see that we're not all the same. Not everybody wants to be like you. You don't want to be like everybody else. And that's nature's design. We're all meant to be different. We're all meant to experience different experiences. We're not meant to experience the same thing. Otherwise, the more of the same experience everybody shares, the less experience possibilities there are. The experiences will just become smaller and smaller and smaller, or the choice of experiences. So remembering that everyone's entitled to theirs, because it is theirs, it's what they've lived, it's who they've been, and it's how they've become the way they are. And the same for you, it's the way you become the way you are. That's the gist of it. Just allow everything to be. Allow them to be different to you. And the more you allow them to be different, the more you will find that you actually resonate and get along a lot better by accepting differences, rather than trying to bridge the gap of the differences and make everybody think the same.